Thank you for taking the time to join this evening. Really hope that some of you have not heard about Wentworth before. It gives me an opportunity to give you a brief overview of who we are, what we've been up to, and I guess importantly where we're going. And obviously we'll happy to take some questions afterwards. So just as a brief overview this evening, I know we don't have a huge amount of time. I'm going to just give a brief overview. The good news is we're a really nice, simple, easy story. Then I'll go into a bit of financial and operation highlights. Huge important focus for our business is sustainability, as I think we've just heard from Ian actually, just how important that is in this energy transition environment, and also a little bit about our outlook for this year and beyond. So just as a company overview, we actually announced yesterday in our AGM update some successional board changes that have been planned for a very long time. So this picture here shows you the current status. I'm the CEO of Wentworth. I've been with the business for 7 years, and it's been a journey during that time, which we'll talk about. Tim Bushell is our new non-executive chairman, who stepped up from deputy chairman to the chair role yesterday. We have Ian McLaren as our non-exec director and chair of audit committee. Bob McBean is a founder, major shareholder of our business, and has been leading this board for the last 11 years, and he stepped down yesterday as Tim stepped into the chair role. We also have John Bentley, who's been with us for all those years, as well as a senior independent director, and he will be stepping down towards the end of this year as we look to refresh our board, and we hope to be able to announce a new non-exec director shortly. And really the goal is to increase diversity, really have some regional experience. We're a Tanzanian business first and foremost, which I'll come on to. So to be able to have some of that East Africa regional experience evidenced on our board will be really important for us. So who are we? And just an overview of our very robust position. So we are a leading domestic natural gas producer in Tanzania. We have a single asset, which is our core asset at Mnazi Bay, which is an onshore natural gas, and it's in production right at the bottom of in the southern part of Tanzania. Natural gas plays a critical part of the energy mix in Tanzania. It currently accounts for around possibly more than 50% of the power generation in country. There is a significant portion of that energy mix by hydropower, which is incredibly environmentally aware as a sub-Saharan country, unlike possibly some of its neighbouring countries like South Africa, that's very heavily reliant on coal. So we play a critical part of that gas production, and this is really about domestic gas to increase energy access for the citizens of Tanzania. This is domestic, it's not exported, and it is really helping to enable not only the economy to develop and industrialize, which it needs to do and should do, but also to help bring people out of the energy poverty that we see a lot of that at the moment in country. We believe that the current access to power and electricity in Tanzania is around 40%. So we have a long way to go before we can achieve universal access, and as I say, try to help alleviate some of that energy poverty that we're seeing. Because we're producing gas, and we have a very favourable long-term fixed gas price contract, that enables us to have a very financially robust position. We're profitable, we're generating revenue, we're generating significant cash flow, and a consequence of that is that we launched a dividend policy in 2019, which we believe is sustainable and progressive, and that was evidenced really by declaring our 2020 dividend, which we saw a 27% increase from 2019 to 2020. And we really believe in the quality of the asset, the quality of our contract, the commercial framework in which we operate, to demonstrate just how much we can rely on that cash flow to return capital to shareholders. And that's the last bullet there. You know, we really do have those long-term contracts with fixed gas price. We don't suffer from any commodity price volatility, particularly last year when COVID first hit us, and there was quite a lot of volatility, particularly in the energy sector, coupled with the energy transition that we're also going through. It was a great place to be. We have our reserves there, our gas reserves, those independently audited. All of this information is on our website. So we know that that gas is there to be produced. And obviously we are looking to increase that production as we move forward over time. The other really important piece is that we announced yesterday an upgrade to our production guidance for this year. Every year, typically at the beginning of the year, we set average production guidance for that year, and we'd set that at 65 to 75 million cubic feet per day of gas, and we increased that yesterday. And we increased that yesterday because we've had a very strong Q1, a strong Q2. We've got a couple of weeks left to go of Q2, but it's been a very strong first half. And we do see that increase in demand improving over time. We are typically quite prudent in our guidance, much better to be that way in our view, and to try to meet or exceed guidance if we can, rather than the other way. But that really does underpin where the long-term growth for our business comes from as we see that demand increasing. And crucially, we have the ability to supply additional gas from our field to meet that supply. We're also debt-free. Again, really nice place to be. A lot of companies in our sector, in the oil and gas sector, have experienced overcapitalized or undercapitalized balance sheets, and that being a difficulty, particularly during COVID as well. So we are debt-free, and we've got a healthy cash position. And again, we announced yesterday that at the end of May, that's $21.5 million. Just a summary here. Again, difficult to talk about any proposition without acknowledging just how the impacts of COVID have been for everybody this year. But we're very fortunate. We've had no disruption from COVID at our field. Our operations have remained uninterrupted throughout the whole time. We haven't obviously put in precautionary measures, as has everybody, to ensure that our staff and our operations remain safe and can continue. We also celebrated our 4th year of no lost time incidents, which was a big achievement for us, and we will continue to report on that. Those lost time incidents is a key metric going forward. The dividend I talked about, we've talked about the production guidance increase, and part of the reason for that increase in that strong first half of production that we've seen has been due to some industrial demand recovery since some of the COVID restrictions that were put in place in Tanzania have been lifted. We have a minimal work program. Again, great place to be. Lot of companies in our sector were seeing Capex cuts, having to revisit their work programs, having to push some of that investment further into the future. We maintained our investment, and what's really important about that is that it allows us to meet that supply capability, produce the additional volumes when the demand is there. So we're really pleased that we were able to continue with our work program last year, and we will do so this year. But it isn't material Capex that puts the strain on our balance sheet. Sustainability. Really enjoyed Ian's presentation actually a moment ago, because it goes to the heart of also how we operate as a business. It has to be sustainable. It has to work for all stakeholders. Tanzania is a very relationship-driven environment. So we've been operating there for 10 years plus now, and we have very strong relationships with our government stakeholders. The government is a partner. We are the only onshore domestic gas concession in Tanzania with the government as a JV equity partner. They're also the off-taker of our gas. So it's a very symbiotic relationship, very strong, and one that we believe is sustainable. And we also take sustainability very much important in terms of how we disclose to our institutional investors. We are fortunate to have very blue chip institutional investors for a small company. We're very proud of that, and it's important to us that we made that disclosure and transparency easier. And we did that with the publication of our inaugural sustainability report in April this year. And that's very much the first part of the journey for us, and we'll be working towards further reducing our carbon intensity and footprint. I've got a little bit on that a bit later. So really, Wentworth is about supporting Tanzania and its economic growth, its industrialization. It's a fast-growing economy, GDP growth of around 6%. It has a young, growing population, and it will need increasing energy demands, which we believe natural gas will be a key part of fulfilling those demands. So production at Mnazi Bay, our key asset, we've talked about, I have talked about the production guidance that we've increased. We've had record production volumes in Q1, which does highlight the strength of that demand coming through. We have one of the lowest emissions, carbon intensity in the sector, as you can see here. We have 0.22 kg of carbon dioxide equivalent per MCF. And that really is incredibly low. Having said that, we are working to reduce that further, which is a priority for 2021 as we look to continue on our ESG journey. And the S and the G are also very important to the way we do business, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. So the field's performing incredibly well. It's fairly nascent. Material production has really only been started into that pipeline in 2015. So this is really exciting for the country to see that gas. It was previously stranded, and it's now being produced into a brand new transnational natural gas pipeline, which is the biggest infrastructure project in the whole of East Africa. So it really shows you that Tanzania are thinking seriously about its economic development. And we had an all-time production high of 110 million cubic feet per day. And really that demonstrates my earlier point about being able to increase supply to move into that increased demand. One of the questions I get regularly is around the political landscape in Tanzania. It's been a jurisdiction in which we've been able to have a great business that's profitable, robust, resilient. I think if anything's shown us that, COVID has. This business has continued to go from strength to strength, and we're really proud of that despite all of those global challenges with COVID. But the COVID response and the government response in Tanzania has certainly improved in the last few months, and we're very positive about the outlook for Tanzania and the political environment and the government leadership that they currently have, being in favour of developing the economy, promoting international investment, and tackling the challenges of COVID. So I think this sums up some of the points I made earlier, so I'll probably just move on. On this slide, again, not to dwell too much, but it's just really to show the direction of travel, how far we've come with our business. As I say, I've been involved when the gas was stranded, before the pipeline. We looked at ways to monetize that gas, but obviously this is the best route to market for that gas to reach the people of Tanzania. It's been hard work along the way. We obviously took on debt to help fund our development into the field, which we've now paid down. We have increased those volumes, which has allowed us to generate further revenue and cash flow. And we've also undergone a complete restructuring of the business, which I led in 2018. We re-domiciled from Alberta to Jersey, but we're a UK listed PLC and we're a UK tax resident. So we look and feel very much like a UK PLC with QCA adherence to the QCA governance code, which we take very seriously. That allowed us to streamline the business a lot. We also delisted off Oslo. We had a dual listing on Oslo, and we're now single listed on AIM. So we've taken out a lot of complexities. A lot of those jurisdictional layers have been removed, and we run as a very clean, efficient team. Most of our team is in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. It's really important to us that we have a genuine operating presence there, rather than just some token representation. It's really important to us that the majority of our human resource is in Tanzania and Tanzanian. We have a very small, lean team here. I'm supported by just a couple of people in the UK and the rest of my board. So we're lean and efficient and always looking to drive down G&A as much as we can without obviously impacting negatively our business. The dividend, again, a huge differentiator for us in our sector. I mean, it's quite incredible that we're only one of 3 AIM-listed E&P companies paying a dividend, and only one of 7 in the market. We're able to increase that even during COVID and steady state with our demand. We're able to increase that, and we had our final dividend approved at our AGM yesterday. So we'll be making that payment next month to shareholders, and we look forward to continuing that dividend. And we believe it's a real differentiator and really just highlights to us how stable Tanzania is as a place to do business, how the quality of our asset, you know, and the confidence we have that asset will continue to perform for a very long time. Sustainability, again, this is really key that it's not just, again, another sort of tick box exercise, and it really goes to the heart of the way we do business, but also disclosure. And we took the view that we should use an internationally recognised framework for our disclosure. We have to be fit for purpose. We are a single asset, non-operated business, so we need to find something that suits us for this stage of our development. So we chose the Sustainability Accounting Standards Boards, and you'll see this on our website in our sustainability report. It's data driven and it's comprehensive, and it really shows what we're doing and what we're trying to do to improve our metrics going forward. We also announced our membership to the UN Global Compact, which is important to us because, you know, that again brings responsibilities which we will adhere to. And the SDGs here that we really, these are the SDGs that we really feel we can have the most impact. So we are improving people's lives in Tanzania. You know, we are trying to bring them out of energy poverty and associated poverty that comes with that, providing education, allowing education and supporting affordable clean energy are really basic needs, but this is what our gas production is achieving. We are looking to reduce our carbon footprint. I think I said earlier, we're one of the lowest in the sector, and that's a great place to be. But we are looking at ways that with a climate strategy that we're developing to reduce that further. So even as we look to grow the business going forward, this is always going to be an absolute priority. And we have some extracts here, but obviously there's more data available in our report on our website. So to conclude, our outlook for 2021 is very strong. We have a great sustainable business. It's incredibly financially robust as well as operationally robust. We are committed to that dividend with increased production guidance. We have minimal work that is well in our budget that we feel confident with. And then the next piece is, you know, how do we grow from here? You know, we very much want to be that partnership with the government of Tanzania to increase gas production and energy demand, to meet that energy demand. So we are looking at opportunities that complement our asset. There is plenty more opportunity within the asset itself as well as outside of that asset, and those are the right opportunities at the right time. We're very conscious that we have a very good quality asset that we can't dilute unnecessarily, so we're very conscious of that with shareholders, our existing holders, and ensuring that whatever we do next will be accretive to our story and not value destructive. And ESG remains an absolute priority, as I've just discussed. The one thing I would leave with as well is that I've just put here on the right hand side, I talk a lot about, I realise I talk a lot about increasing demand, and it's going to grow, and obviously I think we've seen a track record of that growth in demand, but where is it really coming from, and where is the line of sight on that additional demand? And there are some of the points there that I talk about, which helps to give visibility on that increased demand, and we're really seeing that, as I say, from largely from the power sector, with the extension of the distribution and transmission network. that is getting power and evacuating that power around all parts of the country. Tanzania is very, very good in the urban areas. Typically now we're seeing quite good connectivity in Dar es Salaam, in Dodoma, the capital, Dar es Salaam, the commercial capital. But we really need to get that power evacuated all around those rural areas, because it's the rural areas and the rural villages that are really suffering from the worst of the energy and associated poverty. So that's a big part of the future energy demand. But again, a really big part of this, and one that you need to believe in as a holistic part of this exciting journey, is the industrialization of Tanzania, which is undoubtedly coming. It's moving away from that traditional agricultural base towards an industrialization of its economy, and that in turn will bring the connection of those new industrial customers. So Dangote, for example, a cement producer, is already taking some of our gas, and as steel and cement and those infrastructure projects start to take off, all of those things will, all of those industries will demand more power. And natural gas is a low cost, reliable, and low carbon solution for a developing world, which I think is just incredible, that you have a sub-Saharan country that's looking to develop and can do so in a relatively low carbon way. You know, we're really excited about that. And so the last two of those boxes are power generation for domestic use. Typically, the Kinyerezi 1 extension will give us quite a material uplift in production volumes when that comes, when that's commissioned, which we hope will be either towards the end, starting towards the end of this year or next. And the expansion of the Mtwara power plant, which is our power plant, which is in our local region near our gas field and important for our local community to support that. And I think that also is a good point about our social impact. We have our own foundation, the Wentworth Africa Foundation, which really focuses on supporting education, particularly with girls and women, keeping girls in school. Female empowerment and female education is a key priority for our projects and our foundation. But we look for projects that are sustainable and can really stay the course, rather than things that will last just 1 or 2 years and then not be sustained. And the governance, again, as evidenced by some of our successional board changes, as evidenced by the quality of our shareholder register, governance is a really important part for us, and we have to strike the right balance between having an agile, small, entrepreneurial business with a structure that's fit for purpose. And I think we typically get the balance right there.
Quite a few people have picked up on the diversity in the board and the element, the comments around that. So I'll put these two together. Are the senior management team based in Tanzania, or do you direct operations from the UK? And then further to that, can we assume that the new board, or there'll be a future new board member based in director in Tanzania?
The executive team, myself, is in the UK with the board, most of our board, but most of our team are in Dar es Salaam. And we are looking for some regional experience on our board, which we also hope will bring some diversity.
What are your future Capex commitments?
We have minimal Capex until around 2023, 2024. And that's when we're really looking to start reinvesting back into the field in a more meaningful way. We have a compression project that we are doing pre-feed on this year. So that is when I would expect 2023, 2024 for material Capex back into the field.
And what is the life of the asset, the Minaz asset?
Well, we currently have our license term until 2031. We have another 10 years left on our license, and our contract, our gas sales agreement, our contract is until that time as well. But we would look to extend beyond that. The field has plenty of capability of supply beyond that, in our view.
Okay, and final one. What are the main costs in the G&A from the slide you talked through there? And is there a strategy to try and lower those costs?
Yeah, it's obviously mainly staff. We have our team in Tanzania, we have our board here, and some assistants here. We always look to see if we can reduce efficiencies. Absolutely, that's an ongoing, and I'd like to see that coming down over time. But we are very lean we don't have a big team, so it's you know, we all sort of, you know, wear quite a few different hats, and but that doesn't mean that we should always be looking at reducing costs and increasing efficiencies if we can.
Katherine, thank you. Thank you very much indeed for presenting this evening.
Thank you, Roland, and hope to see you all soon. Thanks.